Have you ever seen a rare person in your life? Of course not. But you clicked on this video, and you are not leaving without getting knowledge of rarity. The things we are about to unfold are totally unbelievable, but we will try to upload everything to your brain. While we are about to show you 15 of the most rare entities, and we swear you have never seen any person like them, so hold tight, because they are on their way to tell you about their rarity. Let's listen to what they have special for you. Number 15. Tari. People describe Tari as someone whose appetite operated on its own scale. Food disappeared at a pace nobody around him matched, no matter how much was placed in front of him. Whole animals went down without difficulty, large quantities of fruit followed easily, and objects with no nutritional value passed through his system in ways that confused everyone present. During military service, officials experimented with the idea of sending sealed items inside his stomach, hoping for an unusual delivery method, though the attempt saw little success. His lean frame created even more confusion, since his intake suggested a body far heavier than the one he carried. After his death, doctors examined his interior structure and found organs shaped in ways rarely seen, including a stomach occupying an unusually large portion of his torso. These physical findings aligned with the behaviors people witnessed throughout his life. Number 14. Supatra, Natty, Sassuan. Natty grew up in Bangkok with a genetic condition that produces dense hair across her face and body. Photos from childhood show her moving through classrooms, sharing space with classmates, and handling schoolwork with a calm presence. Guinness eventually recognized her for this distinctive feature, bringing international attention and interviews that she handled with steady communication. Laser methods aimed at thinning the hair created temporary changes, yet the growth pattern returned each time. She shifted focus toward activities she enjoyed, including computer work, creative interests, and subjects that drew her curiosity. Friends and teachers gradually adjusted as she advanced through her education, and she kept shaping her environment with practical steps that fit her needs. Her condition does not shift dramatically, and she approaches it with methods she has used for years. Number 13. Venio Reva. Venio lives with a condition that produces rounded masses across his skin, creating a surface pattern that alters his facial outline and body shape. Clothing, movement, and everyday adjustments require small adaptations depending on new formations that appear over time. Public spaces bring mixed reactions, though he usually moves forward without slowing down for outside responses. A widely circulated moment placed him in international headlines when Pope Francis greeted him warmly during a public gathering. Images from that meeting spread across news outlets and social media, and his name entered discussions around visible genetic conditions. Afterward, life continued along the same general path, supported by family and routine medical management for comfort and mobility. New masses appear at irregular intervals, and he handles each development with familiar steps shaped through years of experience. All right, get ready for a different kind of anomaly in the lineup. Number 12. Khaleim. Khaleim's hands expanded rapidly during early childhood, growing far beyond proportions typical for his age. The weight created difficulty when lifting objects, writing, or maintaining balance while walking. School enrollment became complicated, as educators were unsure how to accommodate him in a standard classroom environment. His parents searched widely for specialists capable of reducing the size of his hands and improving his ability to function. Surgeons eventually developed a multi-stage plan to remove excess tissue and reshape the structure so he could regain control. After surgeries, he practiced simple tasks with a focus on coordination, gradually learning movements that were impossible before. He gained the ability to hold utensils, write letters, and participate more naturally with other children. The size is still unusual, but far more manageable after intervention, and these changes opened opportunities that were previously out of reach. Number 11. Praadi. Johnny lived in Gujarat and stated throughout his life that he did not rely on food or water. Visitors reached his home regularly to ask questions about the claim, and he responded with quiet consistency. He often spent long hours seated in meditation, holding a posture without signs of strain. Medical teams placed him under controlled watch on multiple occasions and recorded patterns that contrasted sharply with expectations for someone without intake. He produced no outward signs of dehydration or hunger during those periods, and his physical state showed minimal fluctuation. Johnny attributed everything to spiritual discipline and maintained the same explanation year after year. Local residents treated him with respect, and he followed this lifestyle into old age. The claim never reached a scientific conclusion, yet each monitored stretch displayed similar results, leaving specialists unsure how to interpret the phenomenon. Number 10. Carol Ann Joerger. Movement had become nearly impossible for Carol Ann Joerger by the time hospital teams began assisting her. Staff relied on reinforced beds, lifting devices, and coordinated shifts to ease pressure on her lungs and circulatory system. Fluid buildup created additional complications, leading specialists to implement controlled nutrition programs inside medical facilities. One supervised program resulted in a sharp weight drop, though later complications reversed much of that progress. Skin irritation, reduced airflow when lying flat, and swelling in her legs pushed her back into emergency care several times. Her heart and kidneys struggled under the strain of her size, prompting discussions among physicians about long-term stability. The final hospitalization addressed respiratory decline and organ fatigue related to overall body mass. Healthcare workers referenced her condition when preparing guidelines for treating severe obesity in clinical environments that lacked established protocols. Let's step into the next case, which unfolds with its own distinct details. Number 9. Emboto. Local identification papers assigned a birth year in the 1870s to Emboto, placing him well beyond typical human lifespan ranges. Village clerks validated the date on multiple documents, which drew journalists to his home for interviews about earlier decades in his region. Relatives described a life centered on farming, family gatherings, and community festivals long before urban development reached the area. With age, sight grew dim, and movements shortened to small steps inside his house, yet he still met visitors who traveled from nearby towns to speak with him. Indonesian administrative offices reviewed his documents when public attention increased and stated that the records matched their registry. International agencies could not confirm the date due to missing birth certificates from the period. Municipal staff later announced his death in 2017 and filed it using the same birth year listed on his identification. Number 8. Lionel Messi. Messi's movement on the field follows a pattern that rarely matches conventional athletic training. His center of gravity sits unusually low, letting him shift direction without losing speed, even when defenders close in from every side. Analysts studying match footage often pause moments where his feet barely leave the turf, yet his body rotates sharply enough to bypass tackles that should have stopped him. Muscle activity sensors used during practice sessions showed bursts of coordination across his legs that activate in shorter cycles than most players. Coaches adapted drills around that trait, letting him accelerate through tight angles instead of relying on long sprints. Balance specialists who evaluated his stance during pivot drills described an alignment that holds steady even when contact pushes him off axis. Crowds notice it when he weaves through clusters of opponents with short, grounded steps that look improvised but follow a precise internal rhythm unique to him. Number 7. Elisani de Cruz Silva. Growth acceleration began for Elisani de Cruz Silva during childhood, driven by a benign pituitary tumor that increased hormone production. Height rose at a rapid pace, creating pressure across her knees and spine, prompting scans and hormonal evaluations. Surgery later removed the tumor, slowing her upward growth and reducing orthopedic strain. She entered modeling as a teenager, where her tall frame caught the attention of agencies seeking distinctive profiles. Catwalk events in Brazil introduced her to broader audiences, and interviews often focused on practical matters such as custom clothing or joint discomfort. Her relationship with a partner significantly shorter than herself also drew media interest, largely centered on the everyday logistics of height differences. Long-term monitoring remains part of her medical plan due to an earlier hormonal imbalance, though mobility and posture improved after surgical intervention. Number 6. Toan. A neurofibroma on Toan's right leg expanded gradually, eventually reaching a size that made unsupported walking nearly impossible. The mass altered his balance, forced him into uneven postures, and created friction that damaged surrounding skin. Local healthcare providers lacked the resources for a tumor of that scale, which prompted outreach to international organizations specializing in complex surgical cases. A multidisciplinary team assembled to handle excision while preserving essential nerves and blood vessels running through the limb. Surgeons faced challenges tied to vascular density within the growth, requiring careful dissection over many hours. Rehabilitation began soon after, focusing on simple steps, posture correction, and weight redistribution. As swelling lowered and sutures healed, he gained the ability to stand upright and walk short distances with far less strain than before surgery. Number 5. Romesh Dargy. Cracked layers of hardened skin covered Romesh Dargy from infancy, forming thick plates that restricted bending and caused painful fissures across his limbs. The surface tightened as he grew, pulling at his face and limiting his ability to open his mouth fully. Families in his village tried various local treatments, though the condition progressed faster than anyone expected. International charities later became aware of his situation and helped supply medications that softened thickened skin. The ointments reduced splitting and allowed him to move with greater range, especially around his elbows and knees. Doctors tracked improvements through photographs and physical assessments, noting when flexibility increased enough for him to stand and walk short distances. School staff arranged ways for him to join lessons once the discomfort eased. His condition still requires frequent moisturization and temperature control to prevent cracking, but mobility and comfort improved after long-term treatment reached him. All right, the next individual brings another unusual trait into focus. Number 4. Mandy Cellers. Abnormal tissue growth shaped Mandy Cellers' legs throughout adulthood, with her right leg enlarging dramatically due to a rare genetic alteration involving PIK3CA. The swelling created disproportionate weight that stressed her hips and lower spine, making long-distance walking difficult. Surgeons attempted reduction procedures and later amputated part of the affected limb to prevent repeated infections. A regrowth phase occurred afterward, demonstrating how aggressively the mutation influenced tissue behavior. Genetic sequencing later confirmed the exact alteration driving the overgrowth, allowing clinicians to test targeted medication designed to interrupt the faulty cellular pathway. The therapy produced noticeable reductions in fluid volume and improved her ability to manage footwear and clothing. Public appearances and medical interviews often focused on practical adjustments she used to navigate daily mobility. Research teams continue tracking her progress because the mutation helps explain mechanisms behind asymmetric tissue expansion in rare disorders. Number 3. Joe Wesley. Social media attention increased rapidly for Joe Wesley when videos displayed the striking width of her hips, which exceeded 95 inches. The measurement placed her among individuals with the largest natural hip circumferences recorded by online databases and television features. Interest from modeling photographers followed, especially those seeking unconventional silhouettes for body positivity campaigns. Medical professionals expressed concern about potential strain on her lungs and heart due to excess weight distribution, leading her to attend consultations about long-term health management. Public discussion often blended admiration and criticism, with many followers requesting advice on confidence and self-presentation. Interviews she participated in typically addressed diet structure, mobility challenges inside narrow spaces, and the impact of viral visibility on her daily life. She used her platform to demonstrate clothing modifications and posture techniques that accommodated her unique proportions. Number 2. Rudy Santos. Crowds in the Philippines encountered Rudy Santos during traveling shows where he displayed limbs attached to his torso from a partially developed twin. Extra arms, legs, and a section of pelvis extended from his side, forming a configuration described by specialists as parasitic twinning. Promoters featured him under the stage name Octoman, and he toured regularly across Southeast Asia during the 1970s and 1980s. Medical teams later offered surgical separation, although he declined after learning how dependent he had become on the additional mass for balance. The fused structures contained non-functional bones and tissue, creating weight that altered his movement style but did not threaten his vital organs. Documentaries revisiting his life captured interviews with family members and highlighted the years he spent performing. He lived into old age with the same physical configuration seen during his time in the sideshow circuit. Number 1. Tom Stanniford. Tom Stanniford was diagnosed with MDP syndrome, an extremely rare condition affecting fat distribution, leaving him with almost no subcutaneous fat across his body. The tightness of his skin produced a sharply defined facial structure and reduced cushioning around joints, influencing how he handled long cycling sessions. Specialists monitored his glucose levels closely, since individuals with this condition often develop diabetes-like complications. Stanniford pursued competitive cycling regardless, eventually earning a position on the British para-cycling team. Training schedules required tailored nutrition and hydration plans to offset the limited fat reserves available during exertion. Interviews about his athletic career often centered on adapting equipment, including saddle design and vibration control, to reduce stress on exposed bone structures. Genetic researchers later linked MDP syndrome to mutations affecting lipid metabolism, using his case to study how disrupted pathways influence energy storage and muscle endurance. Every moment you spend here adds real energy to what we create, and your voice shapes where we go next. Drop a like if the content kept you watching, leave a comment with what you want explored next, and subscribing helps you stay connected to everything coming up, and your support never goes unnoticed. Thanks for giving your time to this channel today. We appreciate it more than you realize.